好，我们就反正这个会有录影了哈。那个明慧有确定等一下，明慧有确定会录哈，还是我要来录？
正在录影了。
OK，好，谢谢，没关系，明慧你去忙你的，好，这边我来处理就好。最后结束的时候我就关掉就好了嘛，好，就可以了，对不对？它就会自动录制了嘛，就已经就是自动会切掉嘛。喂，好。
对。
OK，好好，那我就没关系，明慧你去忙你的，好，期末考之后你就去忙你的。那我们就来开始看一下今天的讲义哈。今天其实就一个讲义啊，待会我们会 demo 一下用一个讲义来做分享哈。我们来看一下这个讲义，到时候我会挂在那个群组里面哈，在 Anova 里面。好，那我们看一下哈，就是我们一般 ANOVA 的意思叫做多变量分析了哈。哎，大家看，等一下，大家看，稍等我一下，我确定一下，大家看得到我的桌面。好，大家看得到我的桌面哈，可以哈。好，那我们这个第一个，这应该是要大写了哈，看一下。好，主要这一章其实我们讲了一半哈，那个上次讲了 one way ANOVA，one way ANOVA 就是主要的目的哈，就是可能有一个因素，它会影响到我们的因变数，比如说我们课本的我们那个讲给了大家那个学生的考试成绩，当然考试成绩有分各科都不一样，有英文、数学对不起，有数学，这个写作阅读。还有这个社会科学跟一般科学有5个 subject，那5个科目可能会受到某些因素影响。那主要 ANOVA 是特别针对这个因素呢，它定义出来群组呢，一般我们叫因素的意思就是说，它是一个离散型的自变数就是说它的影响变数它本身是离散型，也就是它只能定义出一些离散的个组，比如说我们说。比如说像种族它这个群组会超过2个以上。当然，我们前面在教 T 检定的时候已经解释过，只要那个群组只是2群，我们用 T 检定就可以了。比如说性别，你要比较性别的差异，到底学生成绩会不会受到性别的影响？那你就用 T 检定就可以，因为性别就2个那当然，现在假如说你要考虑多元的性别那就不止2个，就不能用 T 检定了，就要用 ANOVA 检定那不管怎么样，就是那个因素本身，它定义出来的群组只要超过2个的，一定要 ANOVA。那2个也可以用 ANOVA，也可以用 T-test，其实2个结果是很靠近的。待会我们来 demo，我可以让大家去比较一下。其实结果会一样。假如是2组，不管你用 T 检定或者用这个F 检定。好，那 F 检定的假说就是它的假说很简单，就是假设它有 K 组，那每一组都会有样本样本数不一定要一样比如说我们说性别不要说种族第一个群组比如说我们以那个来讲，就是西班牙裔，2号是这个亚洲裔，3号是黑人，4号是白人，就是这样4个群组，有 N1、N2、N3、N4 4组当然我这边取的 K 是一般来讲的 K 组，每一组的样本数就分别是 N1、N2、N3、N4就是这样个别去收集样本这样就直接第一个叫做组间差异，其实很简单，你可以看课本的怎么算那个其实不难了就在课本我们看一下，在课本的那个讲义里面的，稍等我一下我看一下。在这个393页，其实我口头上讲一下就很简单，这个组间差异就是因为这个1、2、3是总共有 K 组，所以我们每一组呢都用这个每一组的平均数，还会有个总平均，全部人的总平均，所以每一组的总平均减掉总平均以后，把它乘上 N1，比如说第一组的平均。减掉这个总平均以后的结果乘上 N1，因为第一组有 N1个，再加上第2组的平均减掉总平均， 好的平方，都要减完以后差异的平方乘上 n2，然后每一组都做一样的动作，然后把它加在一起。好，那换句话就这个组间差异就是看每一组的平均跟总平均的差异了哈。好，那这个差异完剩下的就是什么叫组内差异？剩下就是比如说第一组减掉每个个体减掉它第一组的平均的差异平方和。好，因为第一组有n 万个嘛，每一个观察值都会跟它第一组的平均相减，减完以后的差异平方把它加在一起。好，那所以也就是说我们的总差异这个 total 就是我们说每个个体跟总平均相减的差异平方和。每个观察值跟总平均，所以就是 grand average。I forgot I had to speak in English. Sorry about this. So SS total is the sum of deviation for each between each observation and the grand average. So we had to add all the squared deviation together. So this will be the total sum of square, which can be decomposed into two parts. The first part is the deviation among groups. Okay, but we won't get into technical detail. If you are curious, you can always go to page 393, which will show you how to calculate. But basic idea is we simply, calculate the deviation among the group average and the grand average. That's how we call sum of square error due to treatment. The T is, is as we talk about here, is treatment 1, treatment 2, treatment 3, treatment K. And then this is the deviation within each group. So in other words, every group observation can minus their group, average, and then we square the deviation, add them together, and then add all the groups deviation together. We get the deviation among groups. Okay, within groups. I'm sorry, deviation within groups. Okay, and then this is deviation among groups. 组间差异 means deviation among groups. Okay, and then this is deviation within groups. Okay, so basically, as long as this can explain, if SST is huge, meaning the deviation among group members can be explained by the deviation among groups, meaning the factors will be effective. So we are using an app test to do it, but later on when I show you how to do it with SPSS, it's very easy. The key idea is SST divided by, depending on how many groups, K group, we divide it by K minus 1. So we will get basically MST will be equal to SST divided by K minus 1. Okay, and then likewise we'll have SSE, or I'm sorry, MSE, which will be equal to, but this is technical, the computer will calculate this for us, divided by n minus k. So we have the F statistic. F statistic, basically will be equal to MST divided by MSE. Okay, and then we know this statistic is distributed with as F distribution with degree of freedom. Hold on, let me put this in. What happened here? Oh, something wrong with it. Hold on. Let me get this real fast. Okay. Why you won't let me input? What's going on with this? Man, this computer sucks. Hold on, what is going on? 哎，等一下，我再来一次。这电脑怪怪的。 好来。What is happening? Oh, okay. 好了。Okay, so this is a distribution F distribution with numerator degree of freedom is k minus 1. Denominator degree of freedom is m minus k. So for this distribution, there will be 2 degree of freedom involved. So, but it's okay. The computer will do the checking for us. I will show you how to do it later. But the key idea is, if f is greater than f, hold on. Alpha, hold on. Okay, so so the idea is basically our null hypothesis, all the mean for each group are the same. So U1 equal to U2 equal to U3, are all the same, meaning, the null hypothesis, meaning the factor have no effect. Okay, the factor have no effect. So when the F statistic, which will be calculated by computer and greater than the threshold point. But don't worry, we can check the p-value like we do before. If the p-value is smaller than alpha, okay? The same idea is if the p-value but here is one tail, no detail, no two tail, just check the p-value smaller than alpha. Okay, so if p-value is smaller than alpha, it's the same thing, okay? Or f is greater than the threshold point, then we can reject, the null hypothesis, and we can conclude the treatment had effect. Okay, the treatment had effect. Like I told you, in order to know more detail, this is like one-way ANOVA is just the first stage. We can, figure out whether any factors, which have effect on the dependent variable, whatever it is. For example, if we are trying to test the socio-economic status, 就是家庭的经济状况 whether the socio-economic status have an impact on writing score, okay? Because writing, you can try reading or writing, Later on, we can implement this test, and writing. We want to test on both. So we want to see whether they have impact on reading or writing, and we can using this. So using ANOVA can help us, do the first step. And then we can using, remember in class, I show you how to do contrast, right? Contrast can further investigate the detail of the impact. Step 1, we have to make sure, okay, for example, economic status, socioeconomic status does have effect. So we have to implement the first step on the F test. So once we confirm it have effect, then we can, just, explore more, using the contrast analysis. Remember, we talked about, several different coefficients. For example, the detail we can have, suppose this is 1, 2, 3, right? So 1, 2, 3, we have 1, 2 and 3. We could have so we have 3 groups. We could have the first one, we could have hold on. We could put for example, we put 1 minus we could put 3, I'm sorry, 2, put 2 and minus 1 and minus 1. So if we put the contrast coefficient as 2 minus 1, we can compare for the group 1, which is come from the low-income family, whether they agree and other 2 groups, whether there's any difference. Of course, we can, we can do more. We can do, like we do in class. We can do this. We can compare the second group, the middle class. Well, the middle class are different from the other 2 groups. Right? We can do this, and then we can also do, for example, minus 1, right? Another three set of coefficient, and then 2. And we can using this to compare the group 3, which are more wealthy family, whether their reading score are better than the other 2 groups. Okay, or we can do any 2 groups. For example, if you want to compare 1 and 2, they have 1, right, and then 2 and 0, right? So this will be done through a contrast t-test because we narrow down to 1 difference. Okay, so for example, the first contrast meaning, the first contrast 2 minus 1 meaning whether the first group and the other 2 groups, they are different. And the contrast 2 is whether the second group are different from others. And the contrast 3 meaning whether the third group are different from other. And then the contrast 4, we try to compare group 1 and group 2. And you can, you can do any kind of contrast and make sure the contrast coefficient sum equal to 0. Okay, so then you can do a lot of contrast based on this to explore more about what caused the impact. So later on we're using this example to see. Okay, so now let's let me try to get the, hold on, let me open the SPSS real fast. Just 1 second. If you have your computer with you, you can follow what I do. You can open the VMware. Okay. Okay, and before you do, make sure, hold on, let me see. In the VMware, make sure your setup, before you turn on any software, any cloud software, make sure you set up, for example, here I already set up desktop as my drive. In other words, all files on desktop can be accessed by computer. Or you can, add another folder, whatever folder you like to add, and this can be accessed by the cloud server to your folder. So you have to designate a local folder which can be accessed by the cloud. Okay, and then you put all your data in this folder. So in other words, for my example, if I put everything into desktop, it will be able to be accessed by the cloud server. Okay. All right, so let's get back here and hold on. Hold on. Let's open a file. Like I said, open and data. Okay, and then here we'll have, just click the file type. Okay, and then remember the folder is right here. You can see G, which is a logical drive, which is a virtual drive. Okay, and then cloud computer recognize it as drive G. It'll give you some weird number, and you can just double check, on desktop. And this is my 5C3A TH6. I think it's just my computer ID. Okay, and you can click here. You will find I have actually have a lot of file, but what I need is not this. Hold on, not this one. I'm sorry, Z. Z is the one. This two, I also tell this is like this 随身碟了哈. Okay, this is like a mini disc, but this is the one I want to use. So I put my file in data. You can see our file is here. HSP 3. This is the test score. Just 1 second. And you will find all the data. Can you all see my screen? 都可以看得到哈. Can you all see my screen? 可以了哈. Okay, I think, yeah, okay. All right, so once we have, hold on, let me, minimize this. Okay, once we have this, we can do the analysis very easy. You can see here, we have a, single, you see, 单因数, 变因数, meaning one-way ANOVA, okay? Then we just put our dependent variable read and write, right? We want to do both, right? We want to analyze, read and write, and then the factor is the race, either socioeconomic status, which either 1 or 2 or 3, okay, which either equal to 1 or 2 or 3, and 3 means come from the richer family, 1 is from the poor family, and 2 is from the middle class. So we can put this in, and then we can also do but let's do this first, and then read the output. You see the F statistic is calculated for you for reading. You can see it's significant, right? You can also see for writing the F statistic. You can see this is the SST. This is the SSE. Okay, this is the SS total. And then this is K minus 1 because we have 3 groups. So K equal to 3. So this is 2. And this is M minus K. We have 200 observation minus K, which is 3. So we get 197. And then this divided by this will get MST. This divided by this will be MSE. And then, MST divided by MSE is our F statistic. And then you're showing significant, right? As long as this is less than 1%, 5%, or 10%. So with 99% confidence, because this value, is let me get this. Because this value is is smaller than 1%. So we know with 99% confidence, right? With 99% confidence, well, I'm sorry, it's 1%. 1% is smaller than 1%. So with 99% confidence, we can conclude socioeconomic status really have an impact on reading. And same thing here, this is also less than 1%. So we can conclude also with 99% confidence that the socioeconomic status also affect writing. Okay, so because we find they are significant, right? We do find there some impact, then we can do further analysis. We can do the analysis again, and this time we can do the contrast by adding the contrast. Just click 1. 多项式 click 1, and then we can type in, for example, 3, right? And minus 1. I'm sorry, 2. Sorry. Hold on. 2, then minus 1, and minus 1. Right, so we have the first set. I think there are only 3 groups, right? Let me double check the data. Hold on. I think there are only 3 groups, yeah. And the next step, okay, this is a group 1. So we can, using this contract, we can compare the poor family, because the poor family is 1, with the other 2 groups, with the other 2 groups. And then we can do another one. We can do, the second groups, middle class, with versus others. Just how we do, okay? And then we can have the third one. I'm sorry. So make sure the contrast sum equal to 0, okay? -1, -1, and then 2. Okay, so we have, this. We can do one more, eh? We can do one more. Let's do the second one versus the third one. Okay, so it would be 0, the first group, 0, 1, and -1. So this will do the second group and third group. So we'll do all those contracts. Okay, so now just keep doing that, and then you can see the contract output is right here. Okay, just now we already know it's significant. It's significant. Basically the same value, right? Significant, the upper right. Okay, so we know they have in the socioeconomic status do have impact. And here I have 4 contrasts. The first one is first group, the poor groups versus the other 2 groups. The second contrast is the middle class versus the other 2. The third one is the rich group versus the other 2. And the final contrast is the middle class versus the rich group. Okay, so you can see the contrast for 1. You can see the contrast value is negative, meaning the first group really, have lowest average score than the other group. The average score is about 11 point lower regarding reading. It's 11 point lower, and the result is significant at 1% level of significance. In other words, we can conclude with 99% confidence. 我们有99% 的信心水准，可以知道这个 socioeconomic status 经济状况比较差的那一组，确实在根据这个资料台湾的资料不一定一样就是根据这个是美国的资料，这个阅读这个家庭状况、经济状况比较差，确实阅读会比较差一点。那这个部分就是也是，假如说美国教育部发现，if they find out this result, meaning they have to provide more resources to those socioeconomic status equal to 1 groups. They have to provide extra service just to designate those groups. If they want to make those difference disappear, so they have to apply more resources. For example, finding free tutors for those groups, or providing extra classes, extra help, providing more online courses for them, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you can see the first contract very for regarding reading is significant, but however the second group, not because second group involved with the poor one and the rich one, so the contract is not significant, which is reasonable. And then the third one is the rich one compared with the other group is even better. So you can see really the richer one is better than the other 2 groups. And then let's have the final one, also significant. The contrast 4, you can see the result is negative, meaning socioeconomic status is worse than the third groups. In other words, richer groups perform better regarding reading. And the confidence level is 99% because the p-value is less than 1%. Okay, it's less than 1%. Are we okay so far? So we can make 3 conclusions. First, let me using the pen. This one, right? So this one is less than 1%. So we have 99% confidence to conclude the first group, is worse than the other 2 groups. And the average difference is about 11.53 points. In other words, the first group on average, the reading score is 11.53 point lower than the other 2 groups. And the second contrast is not significant. So we don't have to, we have no comment. And however, the other 2 also significant. For the third contrast, we can conclude with 99% confidence because the p-value here is less than 1%. So with 99% confidence, we can conclude group 3 perform better than the other 2 groups in reading. By how much? 13 point, 14 point. Okay, they perform better. Okay, by 13 point, 15 point. 它的表现会多13.14分。Contract 4, we also find the second group, middle class, perform also significant, right? And then the contrast value is negative, meaning the second group is worse than the third groups. Okay, so you can using this result to do the same interpretation. I think for both you have similar result. No matter whether you assume the contrast have the same variance or not, either way, doesn't matter. Showing all the same result, similar result. Okay, and writing, you can find for this one, for the first one, writing only 95% confidence because this is 0.36, so less than 5%. So we only have 95% confidence to conclude the first group is worse than the other two groups. Okay, the poor group perform worse, but with 95% confidence. The second group, no comment. The third contrast, with 99% confidence, we know the richer group, which is group 3, perform better than the other two groups. And regarding the final contrast, we also find significant at 5% with less than 5%. So with 95% confidence, we can conclude the second group, middle class, actually perform worse than the third group because the contrast value is negative. 相减以后是负的, right? So meaning second group is worse than third group. All right, so this is it, very simple, okay? Very simple. Now let's get back to our lecture note. Okay, so this is the contract we can do, but I think we are trying to do this one. We are trying to compare with, hold on. Trying to compare the middle class with the rich group. That's the contract we do. We have 1, 2, 3, 1 contract 1. The first column is contract 1, contract 2, contract 3, contract 4. Okay. All right. So any questions so far? 有没有问题？就这边为止。Any question? Okay. I think for the exam, I only test one way ANOVA. Okay. I didn't ask you to do two-way ANOVA because we only teach this in class. During one-way ANOVA, it's not fair for you to digest any new information. So I only provide one-way ANOVA. I didn't give you any question regarding two-way ANOVA structure. But I need to tell you what's the purpose of two-way ANOVA. Okay, so basically, one-way ANOVA, actually there are two factors. Two-way here meaning we have two factors. And then actually we have two factors. And then one factor, key factor. For example, socioeconomic status is the key factor we try to analyze. 这是我们有兴趣要分析的主要因素。Okay. While the other factor is control factor variable. Okay. So, for example, we know gender will also have some impact, right? Gender on grade. So we want to control for different gender. That's why we have different blocks. Right? For example, gender, we have two groups. Two groups. So we, for each group, we will compare. For each group, for example, male, one, we have, all receiving all, different treatment. We have, socioeconomic 1, socioeconomic 2, socioeconomic 3. So we with this design, we can control for any contamination come from gender. 这样的实验设计主要是要控制这个第二个因素，就是性别它的那个干扰的因素的效果，把它萃取出来we can kind of try to remove the impact of effect from the block factors. Okay, for example, gender. Okay, we know gender also have impact. So by removing the contamination, we have a more clean result to analyze the effect of the socioeconomic status. Okay, and then the calculation is the same thing. we just have two things, right? SST is the thing we are, more interested in. SSB is a control, right? Control. So we are not really interested in this. We already know. When we say control variable, meaning we already know this variable have an impact on dependent variable, but we have to set it up here, as a control. I can give you another example. So let's say we have 4 different kind of fertilizer. 我们有4种药，灌溉的药。Okay, we have 4 different kind of fertilizer. We want to see whether, by changing the fertilizer, whether it have an impact on your crops. 就是你这个4种这个肥料对你的收成有没有影响？ So what do? We get all the, all the 4 different crops. So we can design our block. We set up our block, because block meaning, because sometimes the location of the plant might have an impact, right? For example, altitude, or maybe the dirt are different. So we have to be careful, because it might be the research result may be contaminated by block. So maybe some block is closer to water, some block is closer to sunshine, right? So by having different location might affect your crop result. So we had to have a control. So we apply the medicine at 4 different blocks. We are kind of separate the land into 4 different blocks. Okay, so the 4 different blocks, you understand the 4 different blocks, they are subject to different sunshine, subject to different dirt, and so on and so forth. So we try to apply the medicine on each of the 4 different blocks. In other words, medicine 1 apply on block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4. 就把土地分成4大块。这4大块要控制的原因是因为土地的位置不一样，它的照养不一样，它的水分不一样，它的土质不一样，所以我们就会影响到实验的结果。来，有可能你刚好for example, your first, if you only apply in randomly find a block to apply the medicine, maybe the treatment 1 is applying in block 1, and treatment 2 is applying block 2, and treatment 3 is applying block 3, treatment 4 is applying block 4. Then you don't know whether the impact come from the treatment or come from the block. So what do? We apply the medicine on each of the 4 different blocks. 也就是这4个区域都放药。Okay, treatment 1, and then treatment 2, we do the same thing, put it on all blocks. So by doing this, we can collect data, right? For example, you will get data from treatment and block 1, treatment block 2, treatment block 3, treatment block 4. Okay, if you have your textbook with you, you can also go to page, hold on. Go to page 405. 405. 405. 405. We know basically, we want to know travel time from Starbucks to Warren. There are 2 locations. Starbreak, I'm sorry. If you have your textbook with you, page 405. 从 Starbreak 到 Warren 这是2个地点。We want to know the dependent variable is the travel time, because they have to figure out which route to take. This is a treatment. We have 5 different routes. If you have your textbook with you, you can go to page 405. We have US 6 6号公路 West End, or Hickory Street. We can take Route 59. We have 4 different routes to go from Starbreak to Warren. 有4条路径，可以走到那边。So we let 5 different driver. This is a block, because different drive, we cannot randomly assign a driver to drive. We cannot let driver 1 take US 6, that driver 2 take West End, that driver 3 take Hickory Street, that driver 4 take, we cannot do that. So we let all of them take the flight route and record it. Okay, so the block here is a driver because different driver might have different driving habit. This could contaminate your research result. So what do? We let each driver, take the 4 route, drive 4 different times, taking 4 different routes. So each driver will drive 4 times. We record their travel time. So this we have a control for driver. Okay. So but anyway, the computer will help us. We do the same thing. We basically SST. We basically measure the for each block. I'm sorry, each K groups. For each group, you have an average. You multiply by minus the grand total. You have a square deviation, and then each square deviation will multiply by b, and then we sum it together, so we can measure the deviation among different group regarding factor 1. And SSB, we do the same thing. We calculate the block average for each block. We calculate the deviation for each block average with the grand average. We calculate the square difference, and then we add them together, and then we can know how much deviation come from the blocks. So the SSB is very important. We take it out. So the SST will be much more clean to measure the impact of the treatment. Okay. So I think it's only better than using analysis. Let's try the block factors for gender. So the one we really interested in social economic status. Okay. 我们有兴趣的只是 social economic status. And then block 2 is just gender. Okay. Now I'll show you how to do it. Okay. But in the exam, I won't give you this kind of test, two-way ANOVA, but I'm still required to teach you how to do it. So analysis, then you can go to here. Hold on, let me see. Where do they put it? Hold on, let me see. Okay. Go to general linear model, okay, and then 单变异数,单 meaning you only have one dependent variable, okay. All right, so here you can only allow to put one dependent variable, 应变数. So let's say we want to do reading, okay, and then here we have our the factors. Okay, the first one is social status. You just put in here. 这叫固定因子，其他不用管。Okay, just put the 2 factor in here. The second one is gender, right? Female. Okay, so that's it. Then we can see the result. I show you the result. You can see here regarding socioeconomic status, the effect is significant, right? And regarding gender, even though we suspect, gender might have an impact, but gender doesn't really have much impact. So, but we still do the control. We take it out, you see. But even though, deviation come from gender is not much. That's why it's not significant, right? So in fact, the difference come from gender is not really significant. Okay, so you can see under the control, we still get the same result. So in case when you do the first research, right? When you do the first research, you get a significant result. Somebody challenge you, hey, your result might be because of the gender. You did not have a good control over gender. Then you can put one more factor here as control. You take out the gender effect, which is 5.807. This is the what I call SSB. Okay, you take it out, then you measure the SST, cleaner. But under this, you still get significant result. Okay, still get significant result. Okay, so this can make the people who challenge your result shut up. Okay, 就是你可能做 ，Let me say that in Chinese again. 你可能做第一个研究，你本来是 social economic status， 你做出来是显著， 那有人可能会跟你说，哎，你这个 socioeconomic status 好像这个1、2、3组呢，男女生的比例不太一样，有可能是因为受性别影响，比如说3号可能女生比较多一点，那1号男生比较多一点，所以它不是真的是来自于这个 socioeconomic status，那你这样没关系，就把它性别的效果把它萃取出来。萃取出来这个来的 measurement will be clean, so you can make that whoever challenge your research result, you can make that shut up. Okay, by controlling for the effect of female, I still finding significant result that socioeconomic status affecting the reading score. We can try that again with the writing. We can try that again with the writing. We just remove this with writing. Right? Let's see writing. Writing also have the same thing, but for writing, gender does have an effect. Okay, even though reading doesn't have an effect. Do you see that? Right? For the result are different from reading. Reading score, gender doesn't really have much effect. Even though we control for it, but still, when we control for it, the effect for socioeconomic status still significant. And here, the female gender effect does really have effect on writing. Okay, so after we control for it, control for the effect from gender, we still find significant result for socioeconomic status. 好，所以这边的研究，你可以告诉我，我们可以知道，在我们控制的性别的效果。当然性别的效果在这边显示是显著的，而且信心水准是99%。我们知道性别对写作有影响。虽然我们把这个这个因素做了控制以后，我们还是发现社会经济地位对这个写作是有很大的影响。所以这样就可以让前面的人说，哎，你这个研究没有去控制好这个另外一个干扰源性别，你这个研究不够精准，那你就去做个控制就好了。Just do a control. Now let's get back to our lecture note, the final one. Two-way ANOVA with this. We have another term, but remember you want to do two-way ANOVA with interaction. What do we mean by interaction? Let me give you an example. Interaction. What does interaction try to measure? For example, 等一下哈。Where the impact. Okay, so we want to see whether the impact of socioeconomic status it would be different. Would be different among genders, various genders. OK， 就是它这个社会经济地位，我们知道它对前面已经知道对成绩有影响，但是这个效果会不会因为性别而异？会不会因为可能在女生的效果会比较大，还是男生的效果会比较大？不管谁比较大，总之我们要知道这个效果会不会受到另外一边的影响。就像 for example，我们可以for example we can see a lot of things. The impact are different among gender, right? For example, whether you are a vegetarian or not, right? We know the weight are different among vegetarian versus non-vegetarian. 通常吃素的会比较瘦， but maybe this impact are more significant for female compared to male. 男生可能差异不大，为什么？因为男生不管吃荤吃素都吃很多饭，吃饭很容易胖，都很多。但是女生呢，通常吃素的跟吃荤的，女生的话可能饭量吃素的会特别去控制 那吃荤的因为它的本来饭量就不多了，所以吃荤吃素本来对体重影响不大。哦，所以吃荤吃素的影响在女生可能比较不是那么不在女生比较明显的哈，因为对不起我讲错，吃荤可能比较油了哈，但是它因为女生的那个饭量差不多嘛，所以女生的差异可能会比较大，可是在男生可能没有差异的。那男生不管吃荤吃素，反正他就吃了一大堆那个我们男生就是比较不自律嘛，吃了一大堆这个什么真奶啊什么的。跟吃荤吃素已经没有什么摩擦了哈。So the effect of diet choice might be different among different gender, right? For male, well they eat a lot of junk food anyway. Whether they eat vegetarian or not doesn't really make much difference. But for female, people who choose to eat, choose to be a vegetarian are usually more sensitive to what they take. So you will see, the effect will be bigger, right? But this is just a suspected theory. We need to use data to verify whether our thinking is correct or not. Okay. So now we can see by having interaction, it's very easy. I will show you how to do it. Okay. Just doing the same thing. Let's do writing, and then we just have to go to the model. Okay. Go to the model. Just choose all factor 全因子 okay 全因子 meaning they will include or you can do it by yourself, you can using this to do it by yourself. You can have the effect of socioeconomic status, effect of gender, then you can have the intersection 交互结果, and you can put together these two. The computer will create the interaction term product 就是加成项. Okay, this one is try to evaluate whether the impact of socioeconomic status depending on gender. Okay, so just having three terms, or you can, if you just let it handle it because only two factor anyway. Two factor 这个就是全因子的模数，个别效果总共有3项。If you have two factor, there are 3. Okay, but if you have three factor, it'll be more complicated. You have two-way interaction, you have three-way interaction. Let's not go that far. But 全因子 meaning two factor. That's it. One factor and then interaction. That's it. If you have three factor, 全因子 model will be more complicated. Okay, it will be involved with one-way, two-way, and three-way. 我们自己来定比较简单了就是这3个。All right, so once you have these 3, the model will give you 3 results. You can see, right? The first one, significant, socioeconomic status is significant, gender is significant, but interaction effect is not significant. In other words, this result will tell you socioeconomic, both socioeconomic status and gender have effect on the writing score, but if there's no interaction effect. In other words, the socioeconomic effect does not depending on gender. 也就是说，社会经济家庭的经济状况呢，对成绩虽然有影响，但是这个影响不会因为性别而异，不会说男生的影响比较扩大，或者女生的影响比较小，不会，这个差距男生女生都差不多这就是在课本的那个图You can see the page 411页 ，OK， compare with 410页。410页就是你看有2个 diet，OK？ If you have your textbook, factor 1 is exercise versus non-exercise. Factor 2 is let me see, diet 2 and diet 1有两种这个 diet 就是进食的方式可能 diet 2是 for example is non-vegetarian, diet 1 is vegetarian. 然后 factor 2是 exercise or not exercise. So you can see if you see having this prop, putting the average of each group, there are 4 groups, average, right? Diet 1, no exercise. Diet 1, exercise. Diet 2, no exercise. Diet 2, no exercise. You have 4 groups. right? The interaction will involve with 4 groups. 总共有4种人 right? So you put those average, and form a line. If you see they are parallel, meaning what? The impact of diet does not depending on whether you exercise or not. And likewise, the impact of exercise does not depending on your diet choice. So when you see a parallel line, but when you see a line like page 411, you know they are interaction because the difference depending on, for example, the difference of route will also depending on drivers. Different drivers, might augment the impact of driving time because driver have different driving habit, right? For example, if the place involved with too much turn, right, or if the place is highway versus local, right? So if this guy is like driving very fast on highway, and by a local, right? Local different it depend the impact of driving on local versus driving on highway will depending on driver, right? If the driver is a nice driver, he drive always slow, so it doesn't matter whether he take local or take highway, it's the same. But in other words, this interaction will show you the impact of route. 走不同条路 will depending on driver. 这个选不同路所花的时间，这个效果呢虽然有差异，可是这个差异要因人而异，不同的人他的效果就不一样。Okay, and likewise, the impact among driver, 就是这个开的人不一样，它的效果是有，但是这个效果也要看他走哪条路，走某条路的差异可能会比较大。走你可以看得出来 ，for example, you can find 这个 regarding orange versus yellow, 橘色跟黄色 ，hickory street, 对不起，这个 feedback, orange is referred to driver feedback, and then yellow one is referred to driver low. So you can see the difference between feedback and Lodeco. These two drivers are very small when you drive on Hickory Street. But you can see when you drive on Route 59, the difference is very huge. Okay, it's much bigger. So you know the difference between two drivers or any driver will depending on which route. Okay, so this is what it means by interaction effect, which you can check the intersection, interaction product, 就是交乘项的效果显不显著。So in our case, we know there's no interaction effect. We only have socioeconomic effect, female effect. The two factors have no interaction effect. Okay. So that's pretty much I have for it. Okay, so interaction is very easy. We just have one more measurement, which can be captured by the interaction product. 就是那个加乘项，就帮你算好了。那这个 SSA 就是第一 I'm sorry, this is just I think one too many. SA, SNB, SST, 剩下就是 SSE. Okay, but so we can test SSA factor 1. We can test SSB factor 2. We can test the interaction, which is if you see our diagram, here is factor 1. You can see here 1063.253 is factor 8. Female 1334.493. This is SSB, and then this one is SSI, 21.431. You divide it by their relative degree of freedom, you get the MSA, MSB, and MSI. And then you can test the, relative, this is the relative statistic, 就是把它相除啊，除上那个 MSE， 都除上80.414，哎 ，divide 531 by 80, you get 6. Divide 1334 by 80, you get 16. Divide 10 by MSE, you get 1.133. 0.1333, and then you can find the p-value for each f-value will tell you whether we should reject the null hypothesis or not. For the first one, socioeconomic status, we should reject the null hypothesis that socioeconomic status does not make an impact. It does have an impact. Female have an impact, but there's no interaction effect. Okay, I think that's it for today. I know you are all busy. I only plan to give you 1 hour lecture. I know you have a busy week, so please, if you have questions, you can ask me. You can send me a text, send me an email if you have any question regarding the final exam. I think the final exam will be posted at 2 p.m. Sharp. If you like, since we finish early, I will make them available to you right away. If you have time, you want to do it now, I will make sure the final exam will be ready by 11:15. And then make sure the deadline to submit your answer is before 11 p.m. this coming Sunday. 这个礼拜天的晚上11点要交卷 ，OK？ Now, you can, if you don't, it's better that you type, so you can put your computer output. You can, like copy and paste your computer output. So all your command have to be supported by your computer output. 你的所有下的结论一定要有你的电脑报表。So I think I recommend you to use Word. You can type in your answer, but you have plenty of time. Till this coming Sunday. So you have at least 4 days to do it. I think it only takes maybe at most 3 hours. Then you can finish it. Okay. So try to do it, and then if you have any question, you can ask me. Okay. All right. So that's it for today. I hope to see you again after the summer. Wish you guys have a great summer, and that's it. Maybe. In the future, I'll offer investment course. If you are interested, feel free to sign up for my other course. Okay, bye-bye. Okay, bye-bye, bye-bye.